So real quick, just this week we'll be, Broncos on Broncos again for most of the week, and then shift over to San Francisco towards the end of the week. A day later with the game on Saturday, practice Friday, and then depart Friday p.m. Thought we had good work today. A lot of situational stuff we covered, third down, red zone, then we went through a 4-minute drill. Any questions?
Any update with Shanahan?
Pardon?
Shanahan.
No, I don't want to. I think you're going to see him this week. I think he's real. We have a handful of those guys, Cortland. That I think we got a group of 4 or 5 guys that you'll be not asking me anything. Here in a couple days. So
having a chance to watch the game tape. I mean, usually after the game, it's fresh, it's raw. Being able to go back, was there anything?
I would say this, man. Our early group defensively, we had 5 sacks. I thought we did a really good job. Situationally, we did a really good job. Our end of half mechanics, forcing them to punt, getting some field position, putting ourselves in a chance for a field goal. I was pleased with that. We actually had, one of those hurricanes where clock's running, you run your group out there. They called a timeout. End of game, I thought we handled that right. It's interesting. We have the ball on the 3. I think it's a minute and a half, minute 35. They have 1 timeout, we're going to take a knee. No timeouts, we're going to take a knee and then kick the field goal. But when you have 2 timeouts, the number that you get really is 48 seconds, give or take. And I'd rather them have to score a touchdown with a minute 20-something than a field goal with 48 seconds. I thought offensively, it took us a minute to get going. I think we can protect better. It was good to see that first group then have success. The kicking game, look, we didn't punt it like we thought. I mean, we've had as good a 2 weeks punting the ball, and you guys watch out here. So I think he'll be much better the next game we play. It's I don't want to say what you expect when you look at preseason tape, but there were a lot of good things. Last play of the game is something that will get cleaned up. That wasn't really good by us, and that would be the overview. And you get a chance to see these guys, the younger players in the kicking game. Some of them got to pick it up a little bit. It's hard to understand the roster in our league, and if you make it to the game as a backup safety, linebacker, receiver, tight end, the value that you have to have. You've got to be able to, the only people going to the game that may not play is a backup offensive lineman, a backup quarterback. You don't have the luxury like you did in college where you're 100 deep on the sideline. So, I want to see an improvement in that area with some younger players.
When you're closer to the regular season, do you get a little bit more cautious with established guys when they maybe have a minor health?
Yeah, look, jumping ahead, we'll get a little bit more work with the ones in this game, and then certainly in the third game, approach it completely differently. So I was kind of pleased with the pitch count numbers. We had I think we had 1 player at 50, which was high, but for the most part, our numbers were spot on. So that worked out pretty well.
Sean, what about
you mentioned the run game as a place where you probably go to watch film and see some things to correct, but who were there positives you took away from that aspect of the game as well?
Yeah, look, I think there's certain plays that you look at and you execute real well. We had the big run on the receiver speed sweep. So when you're watching this, and when you get into the season and you have one of those games that are just fantastic, and you come in and watch the film, it's never quite as good as you thought. And then when you have one of those games that maybe seems like the sky's falling, typically speaking, it's not as bad as you think. And so, as the head coach, you try to point out the things that need to be corrected, and then you try to also encourage the things that were done well. And then I said this afterwards, we're in a race. Everyone's played a game now, and it's this preseason, and week 1, 2, and 3, who can improve quickly, and that matters a lot.
Sean, operationally, did everything go smoothly on the coach's side? I mean,
yeah. Listen, I thought it went I thought it went really well. Communication was good. We'll clean up some things from the press box down to the sidelines. In preseason, you have more people down there. Overall, I was pleased with that.
In your evaluation, Sean, what is the weight you give to preseason games compared to the broader sample size of practices?
Well, look, I think it's all valued. Certainly, the one thing about a game is, there's a little bit more to it. The rookies, it's their first time playing in the NFL. They're in a uniform, and they're seeing a lot of players they've seen on TV, and so I think there's a little bit more nerves involved, and I think that dissipates a little bit here as we go. But I think the full contact, the full speed live tackling gives you a little bit better evaluation than maybe a team period today, and yet all of it goes into the process. But I think a tick more.
Coach, you said that the protection could be better. Is that just growing pains, or were there too many misses?
No, the assignments were fine. We just got leverage on a few plays and thin, and got hurried. A few too many times. We'll be able to clean that up.
What are you seeing from Jonathan Harris? A guy who's banged around a little bit, but now has a chance to maybe lock down a regular starting position.
Yeah, I mean, we've been encouraged, and you just keep improving. He's working his tail off, and I think all this work we're getting tomorrow. We'll be in pads. We'll have 9-on-7. It'll be a physical practice. That's the way we got to practice football, I think.
Shanahan and Reeves are both up for the Hall of Fame
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, I'm the most biased person only because I went to Eastern Illinois and I know Mike more. Dan had a fantastic career. I mean, they both have the credentials to be in that hall. I'm not a voter. Mike's someone who's won 2 Super Bowls. And when you look at his numbers offensively and where he's been, San Francisco, the body of work for Mike is super impressive. I thought actually he wasn't eligible because he was still helping his son. I thought his 5-year clock didn't start. That's what I thought the holdup was. And so with that being said, and I'm sure Dan has, I just know Mike.
He's got quite the tree out there too, doesn't he, Coach?
Yeah, just you name it. His success, not just here, but wherever he's been offensively, and he's someone as a young coach came into this league. Wherever he was, we cut up. I said this to you. We study 7 teams, 6 teams. Mike's teams were always one of them. I mean, absolute. I can go through the games. The first time we saw this oddball empty package, he opened up here against Dallas. He was putting sharp outside the X, and man, there's just so many things that he's done from an innovative standpoint. The Super Bowl where Elway runs the deep boot and Smith runs the comeback post. We've never seen that route before, and it was like, we were all putting that in Tupelo. We gave it a name. Mike invented that. He was a part of that, and then to hear it was like a sideline adjustment was like, he's real smart, real detailed, and we didn't overlap at all. So I'm not showing my age. Mike was at Eastern well before me, but we all knew of Mike when we were there. As a young player, you knew. Mike was coaching in the NFL when I was playing at Eastern, and that was something. And to now know him, and I've kind of known him for quite a while. We had some tough games against him, when he was still coaching. But offensively, just all of it. He's one of those guys: play caller, quarterback, offensive, scheme, and then the results. So, I'm happy for both those guys. It's always difficult.
From a consistency standpoint, what he did, how difficult is that to do that year after year?
Man, I think it's really hard. And what's even harder is to look as young as he's looked when he was finished. He always looked rested and tanned, and I'm always jealous. Anything else? Absolutely, we do. Yep. We stole a number of things that we pretend we invented, but yeah, he just did so many different things. you know, that helped the quarterback play better. And John would know certainly, you know, his relationship. And Mike always valued the running game. You know, years later, the line coach who's no longer with us, Alex Gibbs, we brought him to New Orleans. You know, he was a guy we brought in for the season, and he'd come in every month, and then postseason, two years he was with us working on the wide zone, the running game protections, the boots. And so I think he had a good staff as well. I think he had a keen eye for what he was looking for in teachers, and he knew personnel. He knew what he was, you know, wanting to get out of each player. So, the career he had is unbelievable.
Well, and you're going to see Kyle this week. I think last year on the conference call with us, he said he hates how many people are running what they run, but I guess that's imitation's the highest form of flattery kind of thing.
Yeah, no question. You know, it's when you're doing something that's good, people study the tape, and then does it fit what we're doing? You know, I'll look at the touchdown reel, you know, this week from the preseason just to see what it looks like, and then, you know, get on to 49er film. But yeah, you have to stay up to date with it. And there's a few people that you would say are ahead of the curve a little bit, and that's why those guys become priority looks when you're studying.
Sean, with a guy, what have you seen from him, and how impressive is it what he's doing?
Yeah, he's raw, and he's big, and you know, we've been pleased. It's tough just because of the experience factor, but you know, when you're dealing with a player that's an extra, you know, he helps us, and we're glad he's here. Thank you.